Hello Internet, hello Wotive community, I'm Jackie Fox.
The opportunity for a good time should never go to waste.
Right now we're at a very special time in the game, although...
You can beg all you like. This mask isn't for you.
I don't know, it feels like there's kind of some fucked vibes that we're gonna get around to, but right now we are at the midpoint between when JP released the Dream Update, known as Reincarnation in Global, presumably. It could still be something different, that's just what we're calling it. And the point at which it will be released in Global. Half of that wait is over since seeing that system in action.
Well, someone's got spirit. I'll give you that.
And I've been saying this from the start, but I think that Global will have a very different experience of this system than JP. And it is for the one fundamental reason that Global has a different experience of pretty much everything JP experiences. We have 4 months of foresight to plan and prepare. And about 2 months ago, I made a video detailing all the ways that you could plan and prepare. And really, that video is pretty good. Like, honestly, go back to it and check it out. It'll tell you all the resources to hoard, who you want to put in your barracks, maybe not specific units, because at that point we hadn't got an exhaustive list and a lot more reincarnations have been listed. So you have a ton of options for any element, and I'll have to get into that specific part in a video in the future. But in this video, which I want to try to keep short, I just want to address the fact that I've seen a lot of JP content creators that are not very happy with the way that this system works. And I think time has borne out my predictions when I was talking about Gumi economics and the economics of raising a level cap. That a lot of the items that JP players very quickly said were almost impossible to get without paying. You couldn't get enough of them. It was really difficult to be able to fully maximize a character, all of that stuff. Over the last couple of months, as I predicted, and according to my predictions, it should get better within this next month for JP as well, they're going to start seeing more and more ways to get those items, and that has kind of borne itself out. So, you know, again, surprisingly, I'm like a Gumi economist somehow from playing these fucking games for so long. I don't know how I completely predicted 3 months in advance what their strategies would be, almost to the letter, in terms of rolling this out, but damn. Check that video out. It will be in the description if you're interested. But the problems that JP players have can in part be mitigated through two things. The first is understanding Gumi economics and that video topic that I was just talking about, because if you understand that that first month, first 2 months are going to be a lot harder to get these units maxed out, but over time, over a period of 3 to 4 months, it will become a lot easier. It will become, you know, if you're having trouble 120ing a unit right now when you really save up for them, you're probably going to have a lot of trouble with this new system. But if you've gotten to the point where you can pull a new unit on banner and maybe get it up to 115 before its banner run ends, then I'd say that you're probably not going to have any trouble with the reincarnation system or saving for it overall, really. If you're the kind of player who can dedicate and save and really critically think about your resources in that way, which I admit is not necessarily the funnest way of playing the game and pulling for waifus and characters that you just enjoy, or trying to play an avatar account and just pull everything. But if you're one of those types of players, the fact that we have 4 months of foreknowledge, and the fact that you still have 2 months as of me recording this video to put characters in the barracks, start building up those additional mind spears on units that you already have at 120, and will be getting early reincarnations, so that you can start building up those extra mind spears to take them through that system already. I mean, just to get them in the door, you only need 120, and I'm not sure, but I don't think that there are at least a whole lot more mind spheres that are required to get them to 140 from there. I think you start running into more and more mind spheres as we're talking about running through steps of reincarnation and really trying to crank their stats. But you get like the trust stones in the way that set bonuses work for them, you get a major part of the reward from this new system just by getting them to 140 the first time. You getting them to 140, 20, 30, 40 times or however long it ends up taking to get their stats fully maxed, and it does seem to be a much higher number than I was hoping at start. And even with saving, that could be a problem, but let's give that 2 months, do our best, and see how bad it is. Like, let's not prejudice this, because we are in a fundamentally different situation than JP. JP didn't know how to save, JP didn't know the resources that were going to be involved, and JP didn't have 4 months of foresight, so it hit them like a ton of bricks. And if you're not preparing for it, this is a good sign that it will also hit you like a ton of bricks and hit your account like a ton of bricks. So I want everybody to really understand that your enjoyment of this new system, which is coming in 2 months, whether you like it or not, might be heavily dictated upon whether you follow the advice that I have previously given you and save up and prepare for this change in the meta, because otherwise you may feel left behind, especially as a free-to-play. But all of my accounts are free to play. I have kind of limited time to really dedicate to fine-tuning all of them and all of that, and I still compete in master level and even Ares level guild battles quite well. And I got to admit, the last couple weeks have been sort of rough, but I'm generally one of the most consistent and powerful members of any guild battle team that I'm on, even all the way up in Ares. So, and even as a free to play. So I would say that, I personally feel like I've figured out, in part because I have older accounts. So it's, I've been building up for a while. This may not be as true for new players that are trying to play catch up all the way to 140, which is probably not going to be fun. Let's be completely honest. Although hopefully the devs will give new players a way to really shortcut that system. Like, giving you a 120 level unit, whereas they currently give you like 2 or 3 99s. Once 140 comes in, they should start, instead of giving you 99s, giving you 120s. I think it's kind of the same spirit. It falls in line with the kind of Gumi economics I've talked about before. I'm not sure if it's a thing on JP, but we'll see what happens. And maybe it's a thing that takes a couple months before they really start giving new players that kind of catch up. But I think giving them that kind of catch up from the outset of this system would really be the best call, because it's a long way to go, especially if you're unfamiliar with this game. I'm also going to be putting out a video on all the things that you have to do to max out your character currently, and even talk about the things you would do with Dream Incarnation, not missing a step except for like equipment, espers, and that kind of stuff. Although I talk about resonance, I talk about equipment mastery and stuff, so everything relating to the character. And it's a lot. That's like a 20 or 30 minute video, and I'm doing it as fast as I can and being as basic as I can. So this is a complicated game, and a new player getting to 140, it's going to be hell without like some serious training wheels, and I hope Gumi does that. But I really think that, this could go one of two ways. This could be bad for the community if people aren't preparing, or people who do prepare could suddenly get a huge payoff by this system. It all depends on what you do now. And let me just reiterate some of the basics of my advice. Just go to World of Calc now, switch over to JP, and look at units that have recently gotten their Dream updates. Look and see if you like it. Or look through those characters to see, do I main any of these characters? Do I already have any of these characters at 120? Even if they don't get the best upgrade, if you already use them, like, let's say you're an Earth account, and I feel sorry for you, and I really need to make a video about why, as excited as I am for Resnick the Hoppy, she's a terrible unit because she's an Earth unit, and, well, Earth players, we know what's going on, Gumi stacks the deck with wind, so we're always going to be fucked, at least on defense. So it's really hard to play Earth, but what was I saying? God, it started with me complaining about being an Earth player, but let's say you're an Earth player. Let's say you've been running Oberon since he came out. He's one of the first units to get an upgrade, so it might be worth putting Oberon in the barracks now, or running daily quests, or doing both, for his shards, getting 4, maybe 5 shards a day when you can, for Oberon specifically, even if you already have him at 120, because those extra mind spheres are going to be important to getting him into the reincarnation system. You're aiming for 120. So since we have 2 months, that's about 60 days. You could do this for any one character. Just that first 120, not talking about repeatedly reincarnating them after that, but getting them initially to 140. You could do that right now by putting one of those 120 characters in the barracks today and just keeping it full until reincarnation comes out. And when it comes out, you'll have 120. If you have maybe 2 units from a collaboration, you could do this in 30 days. If you say you could do this in 30 days if you double up on the barracks and hard quests. But other than that, the other resources that you probably want to look into building up are going to be your rainbow medals, the ones that you can trade for mind spheres already, because those are going to be tradable for some of the awakening materials that you're going to need that are going to be a little bit rarer. That's not the only way to get them. They are seeing more and more ways to get those, but that is one resource that you're going to want to hold back on, especially because I think that along with that and not vision stars, unit stars, whatever, are going to become soul stars, are going to become more and more important, because they're already pretty important to bank up a certain number of those to effectively get someone to 115 on banner. Now you need a bunch of those resources, and that's only going to get more important as we're needing additional mind spheres after that to reincarnate people. So that's a good, even if you aren't buying the premium resource with that, that's a good one to bank up for it anyways. And maybe this is controversial, but I would recommend that nobody really pulls until reincarnation. Just save up all your resources, don't really build units, but think about what the next wave of your game is going to be like. Think about what your post-reincarnation team is going to look like, and be prepared to try to have within that first month your first 3 reincarnated units. And at this point, you could plan to, within the first couple of months, have a fully reincarnated 140 elemental team. And I think that that would definitely be possible within 3 months. A, because you need the variety of characters to release, but B, because it gives a free-to-play time enough to build up at least enough resources to get those 3 easily. And then you have a full 140 elemental team. You've pretty much made it. I mean, you're going to be tweaking that through reincarnation system for like the next year until they release the next gimmick for sure, but you're there. The hard part is over. You've got most of the way there, and you're competitive. Are you the best? Are you a whale power? No, but you can fight. You can compete, I am sure, if you take some of this advice to mind now. This is your wake-up call. Wotif, this is your wake-up call. I guess I'll make another video looking at some of the reincarnated units, some of the possible team strategies that could happen, or some of the characters that you might want to look into. But until then, I'll see you later, and if you want to donate, links are in the comments. I appreciate the cash. Recently had to replace my laptop's hard drive. Thankfully no, honestly, but battery, which was as bad, really. So, donations and patron people, you really help support that, even if it's $1 at a time. As long as I don't go through batteries more than every couple of years, even a couple of dollars can save up over a couple of years to buy a new laptop battery. So every little bit helps, and I appreciate all of it. And I hope you have lucky pulls, most of all.
Where did Naya go? I've got a spare outfit just waiting to be worn.